Hi, I'm Irving, and I have no life, just like you. It's enough to make you want to start harvesting the little sisters right off the bat instead of adopting them after a while. I haven't done that, but oh, have I been tempted just to try and avoid all this a couple more times. Speaking of repetition, once you've finished your task and start back to the train, you can just about always expect A, a zillion more splicers, and B, a big sister. Apparently, Lamb controls them all, and every time you succeed, she sends a bunch of them after you. That'd be okay, except that you don't even get a chance to breathe. You've just fought off all the splicers in the place so your little sister can gather, and before you have a chance to get more first aid kits or Eve hypos or anything else, here comes a ton more stuff, including a monster who's faster and stronger than you are. It almost seems like unfair play. And bear in mind that I'm on the easiest setting. The harder versions are only for the truly masochistic. While you've been finding and dealing with these little sisters, Eleanor has been communicating with you. She has some kind of telepathic connection with you, but it's only intermittent. Still, she just told you something very interesting about our good pal Stanley Poole. When Lamb had to leave the park for a while, she left him in charge. He decided he liked it and basically set himself up as a dictator. When Eleanor found out about it, he sold her to an orphanage. He's the reason she became a little sister. He let the people run wild and turn into animals, and when he found out Lamb was coming back, he flooded the place and killed everybody. So that covered his tracks, right? Wrong. When the little sisters harvest the atom, they have access to all the memories of the people they're drawing it from. When they find out what Poole did, they'll tell Lamb, and she'll track Poole down and make the rest of his life both short and decidedly unpleasant. So that's why he wanted you to get rid of him. He's still covering his own ass, and he's using you to do it. Now, here's the fun part. When you get back to the train station, Lamb comes on the line and tells you she knew all about Poole's betrayal and forgave him. But she also informs you that he was the one who made you into a big daddy. She's unlocked the security booth so you can have your revenge if you so choose. The first time I played the game, I decided to let him live. This time, I wasn't so nice. Okay, that was way too easy. Oh well, on with the show. So, here you are at Fontaine Futuristics. According to Sinclair, Lamb is using Adam to download all the memories of everybody in Rapture into Eleanor, which she thinks will basically turn Eleanor into some sort of god figure. He says Eleanor is in a deep, dark place under Fontaine Futuristics, so you have to sneak in and find her. And it's going to be just that simple, right? Well, no. You have to get past some guy named Gil Alexander, who's left a trail of diaries explaining how to get past him. Basically, he knows that infusions of Adam are driving him insane, so he wants you to battle your way in and kill him. At least that's what the diaries say. By the time you get there, he's got himself a flying robot with his face on it, and he's out to stop you from doing what he told you to do. Yeah, I think I've got that. He's now calling himself Alex the Great, and you've got to figure out how to override his control of the security system. You're supposed to use a voice print to get into his office so you can kill him. And here we go. First, you have to wander all over hell to find 4 signal relays that he's using to control the security stuff. Then you have to go back to his office, but he's not there. You throw a switch that'll open access to the plasmid laboratory, and maybe that's where he is. So you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Reminds me of Command Headquarters in Halo 3. Oh wait, we haven't done that one yet. Never mind. So you find Alexander in this huge tank thing. He wants samples of an atom-bearing plant, so you have to go find those in the midst of finding and dealing with the little sisters, taking out splicers, fighting rogue big daddies, and all the rest. Every time you find a flower or pass a step, Alexander sends a big daddy or two after you, and the splicers come out of the woodwork. Your goal with these flowers is to draw him out of hiding so you can get material from him and make a genetic key so you can... What were we trying to do again? So anyway, you draw him out and have a nice big battle.
No, I don't want it. buy me out with this bribe, this penance, this sublime... God!
Perfect, son. You reeled him in. Now, use that console there to take a gene sample. It should print up a genetic key automatically.
So you get the key, and then you have another life and death choice. Alexander asks you to kill him. You can do it or not. What you do with these people will determine whether you get a good or bad ending. Try it several different ways and see what happens. The genetic key fits a secret widget out in the water between areas, and the widget opens a secret elevator that will presumably take you to Eleanor. At least Sinclair says it's the way to Lamb's hideout, and Eleanor is there. Oh yeah, find Eleanor. That's what we were trying to do. Excuse me, what we're still trying to do. Forward to a place called Persephone. As you reach the bottom of the elevator, Sinclair again tells you to find Eleanor and that her mother has all of Rapture trying to keep you apart.
Hail, Prince of the Obvious.
So as you start through yet another tunnel, you get one of these.
Father, come quickly. I'm trapped in a cage. Something's wrong.
She's been contacting you like this every so often, and most of her messages are about as helpful as this one. But since finding her is what you're trying to do anyway, it doesn't hurt much. Lamb, on the other hand, has been asking you periodically what you think is in this whole thing for Sinclair. We might have a hint here.
Persephone, secret home of Sinclair Solutions. I bet against Andy Ryan's vision of harmony and rapture, offered him a quiet place to send anybody who wasn't working out, and now I'm sitting on my own private think tank. Technically, Utopia shouldn't have much use for a detention facility, but if you do business as long as I have, well, you learn to pick a brand name from the writing on the wall.
The thick plottins. But we don't know what it all means yet, so on we go. There's a downed security bot that you can hack along the way. Might as well, they always come in handy. And at last we reach the goal.
That's her, son, Eleanor Lamb. No matter what you might be feeling right now, this is business. Get that cage open. She's coming with us.
She's coming with us. What exactly does that mean? And how do we get the place open? Let's review the weapons we have. See that glowing handle? Pull it, duh! It opens a decontamination chamber that has to do a number on you before you can get in. Trouble is, as quick as you pull it, Lamb sends not one, but two big sisters after you. So you have to defeat them, then go into the chamber and wait for it to cycle. Sophia Lamb apparently doesn't have any such restriction. While you're standing there waiting behind the unbreakable glass, she pulls this little stunt.
The girl lying on that bed is no longer my child, nor my life's work. She is a monster, shaped by you alone, just as she has always wanted. But there is one detail of your mutual bond she fails to account for. Your body was designed to lapse into a coma when her heart ceases to beat. Eleanor, forgive me.
Father, it's me, Eleanor. I'm so sorry. Mother stopped my heart long enough to sever our bond. Staying near me won't stop you from dying now. or worse. But I can still help you escape. This little sister's brought you something that will allow you to take control of her.
Wait a minute. She stopped Eleanor's heart, but then she started it again. And then she captured you. But now Eleanor appears to be in radio contact with you. How did that happen? And what are you supposed to do as a little sister? How can taking control of a little sister help you escape? Are you supposed to undo your bonds or what? The screen just tells you that you can use the vents and gather at them. That's fine, but oh crap, this is very confusing. Nothing to do but keep going, I guess. As the little sister, you can climb out a vent, then go through another one to get into Lamb's office, and throw a switch to open all the holding cells. Lamb doesn't notice anything, which is a little odd, but whatever. Now Eleanor tells you to go find the pieces of a big sister suit and bring them to her. That seems to be the only way she can free you, so here goes.
Now I will do the same for all the others, starting with this one. We've done it, Father. I'll be there soon. These suits always did make me think of you, Father. I guess I still remember you in shining armor. But now it's my turn to fight for you. Take this plasmid. You can use it to call me to your side in a fight.
Okay, that was a little weird. Of course, I say that as though it's something unusual. So back at the atrium, you encounter a bunch of splicers. Eleanor shows up just as you finish them off, and Lamb comes on the radio to tell you that the whole family can be buried together. Eleanor realizes Lamb is going to drop the whole building into the trench. Wait a minute, what trench? There's a trench? How come nobody mentioned that before? Eleanor says it's miles deep, so the place you're in is right at the edge of a miles deep trench. This might have been good to know before some nutcase decides to drop you into it. So now you have to make your way to Inner Persephone to stop that from happening. Either that or let miles of water pressure squash your armor down until you become the equivalent of a can of tuna.
Bring it on, Lamb. I'm ready for you.
So you find Sinclair's escape sub, but this is a Bioshock game, so you'll have to go through all kinds of twists and turns to get to it. First, you have to face Sinclair, who, we finally see, is yet another old Alpha Series Big Daddy just like you. You have to catch him and get a key from him because now Eleanor says getting you out of Rapture is the only way to save you. Best I can gather, when Lamb captured you and broke your bond with Eleanor, it started some kind of reaction that's making your body slowly shut down. Why getting out of Rapture will fix it, I don't know. But hey, just go with it. One thing I haven't talked much about so far is the sound in this game. Check out the noises in this room. It's not just grating, it's painful. There's a lot of that in this one. The trouble is, if you turn your sound down to where those god-awful noises don't decalcify your entire spine, then you can't hear what people like Eleanor and Sinclair are saying. I really can't give you any idea what to do about it. If you're using earplugs or headphones, it's even worse, so if you have a quick way to control your volume, you might want to keep it handy. But I digress. So you're chasing Sinclair all through this place, meeting splicers along the way and all the rest. Sinclair has locked himself inside a room that needs a numeric code. He manages to tell you that some of the prisoners may have worked out the code, so search the cells. In one of the cells, you find a number written on a wall. Is it important? Well, it's in red and all the other scribbles in the place are in black, so maybe, nah, that's too far-fetched. Oh wait, Sinclair says it is the code. Who'da thunk it? So now you can go face him. He's begging you to kill him and take the sub. Maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. At least not when Lamb isn't controlling him and making him try to kill you. So it's showdown time. As long as you have good weapons, he's not that hard to beat. You'll notice there were a few security bots in the way during this fight too. That's because I goofed the first time I tried to enter the code. They're a nuisance, but that's about all.
Thing of beauty, Winford. Sinclair is moving, Father. Track him down. We need that key. So you get the key from Sinclair's body, lay a bunch of traps, and hit the override switch. That releases all the prisoners, and apparently they're all now Alpha Series monsters like you. But Eleanor tells you there's a bigger problem. Sophia has turned her attention to the lifeboat, so you have to scurry back to the docking platform and get to it before she sabotages it. Will you make it? Are you kidding? Of course you won't. She's done something to make it too heavy to rise. Eleanor thinks she can boil away the water. What water? It's really confusing, but it looks like Lamb has filled the ballast tanks and sabotaged the pumps that you'd use to empty them to get to the surface. Anyway, Eleanor says she can't generate that much heat alone, so you have to call all the little sisters. We're taking them with us. That means getting to the pediatric ward. Hold on. This prison has a pediatric ward? You know what? I'm not even going to ask. Let's just do this. As you make your way there, encountering splicers, picking up diaries, and all the rest, you discover one thing. Sophia Lamb loves to hear herself talk. By the time you reach the pediatric ward, you'll be asking yourself, my God, does this woman ever shut the hell up? You get to the pediatric ward of the therapy wing, where you have to fight off a bunch of splicers and at least one big daddy. Then you push a call button to bring Eleanor in. Wait a minute. Can't you just use that plasmid and call her in to help you deal with the splicers? Apparently not, because she's telling you to do all this. So after you do that, she tells you to go on ahead. She'll wake the kids and bring them along. So after all that, you don't even see the little sisters. You just turn around and leave. Okay. So you get to another pediatric ward, fight off a bunch more splicers and big daddies, and Eleanor tells you she now has enough. You both make your way back to the docking area where she and the girls go into the water to boil it off. And this is worth showing in its entirety because it illustrates just how thoroughly chaotic this game gets at times. Here they come, Father! Hold them off until I can bring it to a boil.
or the door won't open. So I don't ask you to flood the room.
You saw that, right? I died there because 1, I ran out of med kits, and 2, there were so damn many enemies coming from so many different directions, I needed to be about 3 players to keep up with half of them. What the hell? I like action, but this is just a little ridiculous. And in the middle of all this, you're trying to figure out just what the heck Eleanor said about equalizing pressure. As if you have time to think about anything with all that going on. Even worse, you run out of ammo while all this is going on, and there's no time to pick up any more. It's chaotic enough that you can't really tell what you're supposed to be doing. Well, look up. There's a couple of glowing pipes that you need to shoot with something, pretty much anything, and bust them open to flood the room. These waves and waves of brutes and daddies will keep coming until you do, because apparently Lamb had an endless supply of them and she keeps them all in this one place. I managed to break the pipes with my rivet gun, but you can use anything that you have some ammo for. Once you do that, you're ready to go, right? Well, no. You still have to get to an elevator. When you get there, Eleanor's waiting, but the bombs are about to go off, so you need to run. And so it goes. Like the first game, this one has different endings depending on the choices you make during the game, especially the choices you make about those people that Sinclair told you to kill. Among other things, they determine what happens to Sophia Lamb. If only for that reason, I recommend playing it through several times, making different combinations of choices each time to see what happens. For example, when you first reach Eleanor, she mentions that she's been following what you did with those people and with the little sisters. What we saw in this review is what happened when I was as nice as possible, rescuing the sisters, not killing the old lady, that sort of thing. Next time I play, I think I'll be a total jerk, harvest the little sisters, kill everybody in sight, and see what happens when I finally hook up with Eleanor. Should be fun. I'll be honest, there's a lot not to like in this game. The new splicers, especially the brutes, are more annoying than anything else. And in the last couple of levels, you encounter something called elite brute splicers. Elite in this case means they're even more annoying. I already mentioned the sound, and that was not an isolated case. The whole game is like that. Things turn to complete chaos quickly and often, and most of the time it's hard to sort out what's going on. There are a couple of new plasmids, but they're not really a big deal and you don't use them that much. Most of the time you'll stick with the big 3, Electrobolt, Incinerate, and Telekinesis. I do like the new hacking system. It's a lot quicker than the pipe building one in the first game. But balancing that, the game has a lot of plot holes. Eleanor basically turned against her mother's plan because you, her father, convinced her to. Why? Andrew Ryan built Rapture on the virtue of selfishness, and Sophia Lamb had a different idea. What's wrong with that? Another thing that's never explained is just why Sophia thought that infusing Eleanor with all these plasmids, memories, and everything else would resolve all of Rapture's problems. What was she supposed to do with it all once she had it? We don't find out. Some of the diaries give a few answers, but for one thing, they're really oblique and it's easy to miss the subtleties that actually answer your questions. And for another thing, as often as not when you're trying to listen to a diary, there's all kinds of other crap going on that drowns it out. And the whole chaos thing sums up what's really wrong with the game. In that last clip, I had something like 3 brute splicers and 2 big daddies coming at me all at once and from different directions. This is a first-person shooter, which means you can look exactly count them, one direction at a time. So there's no way to deal with things adequately when enemies come at you from several directions. As often as not, when you're fighting something like a big sister, which is basically a boss fight, you have to deal with splicers coming out of the woodwork and attacking you at the same time. If this was a third-person game like Dead Space or one of the Assassin's Creed games, where you can rotate the camera and see what's going on around you, or a top-view strategy game like Halo Wars, it wouldn't be too bad. In a first-person game, it just amounts to not playing fair. And that's one thing I just don't forgive in my video games. I'll put up with a lot as long as the game plays fair. Too often, this one doesn't. And keep in mind, what I've shown you is the easy version. There are 2 higher difficulty modes. The next one up is called normal, and if that's normal, then I'm proud to be abnormal. Your armor's made of tissue paper, the enemies are too many to count, and they're all there at once, and there are never enough med kits around. I gave up on it before the end of the 2nd level. I haven't even looked at the highest difficulty, and I don't intend to. If the game doesn't play fair in easy mode, it sure as hell isn't going to when it gets harder. All in all, despite these criticisms, it's a decent game. It definitely falls short when compared to the quality of the first one, but it holds my interest, has plenty of action, good graphics, and a story that makes a fair amount of sense most of the time. Now Bioshock 3 has been announced. If it gets back to the stellar quality of the first game, that'll be great. But if it stays at the good, strong quality level of this one, that'll be okay too. There's only one way to find out, and it's my least favorite way. Wait. I am Irving, and I have no life, just like you.
Well, finally, Irving got 3 slugs in the belly. It was right outside the Frontier Deli. He was sitting there twirling his gun around, and Butterfingers Irving gunned himself down.
Following what you did with those people and the Little Sisters.
The Little Sisters?
The Little Sisters.
Big dum-dum Irving. Big dum-dum dead Irving. The 142nd fastest gun in the West.